Welcome Radio presents the Vocable Hour. Poems and prose from our hearts to yours, with Allie Croker, Fiona Gulech, and Danny Mazevich. Broadcasting every Monday evening from 6 till 7. Well, hi there. Danny Mazevich here, dear listener. I hope you're well, and I hope you are enjoying the slightly warmer weather that we have at the moment. It's rather beautiful outside, isn't it? With all the deep, deep greens everywhere and the lush outturnings of leaves and buds as they curl from twigs and branches into the slightly damper air than it's been, but nevertheless air that encourages growth and light that warms the heart, doesn't it, at this time of year, and makes us think about all the positive things that there are in life. And of course there are many more positives, aren't there, don't you think, dear listener, than there are negatives. It's very easy to find the negatives, and but much easier, strangely, to find the positives. And on that note, I want to share with you some more of my, I hope you don't mind or think it self-indulgent, but I'm sharing with you my journey in these last few programs, and perhaps even for a few more to come. This journey into the nature of love, and in particular the nature of love as it is found between humans. Of course, there are many other forms of love, and of course I will touch on those because they're all fascinating, aren't they? And in particular, this feeling that we have that has this label of love, which is one of those aspects of life that sometimes on closer inspection is much more elusive. You know it when you see it, don't you? I mentioned the colour green just now. It's impossible to describe the colour green to somebody, isn't it? And actually not terribly useful because you know it when you see it, don't you? As I say the word green to you, a colour will leap into your mind. And so when I say the word love to you, it is possible that a feeling or a person or a place or a memory or a flashback will leap into your mind. On that front, shall we begin? And this first poem is called Flashback. It was you who found it. A stream in the sky. Ankle deep, we tiptoe through its light. And the door between now and then is right here in front of us. So, we walk through into the sun, our arms open wide. Now, standing on a bridge, eating fruit. Now, a witching night in the star forest. You are this wood, this trackless adventure. Then, fireworks spark, burns words in a dizzy nighttime haze. Now you are pools of dark from the beginning of the world. Now you send a photo from a cafe in Krakow, where great curtains of black and gold hide corners where poets and artists whisper inspiration and listen to a murmur that says, events need no sequel, and a candle, once lit, flames forever. Then a sudden rush of fiery air, and a touch of your arm on the tube. And now your brother finds a revolver on the ground. Dolls come to life on stone steps in childhood. You tell such stories. Now you've stepped into to a movie, and I can't tell you apart from either. Now, a field gate. I'm a breath away from taking you in my arms and setting light to the world. You've red-painted bird. Then, speech bubbles on my screen, 3 dancing dots of words being born. Write it. Write it. Now, curled up on the sofa, then, sitting opposite you, breath splutters and giggles, since there are so many words in the world. Then, your hand touches my lips in the dark cinema air. I dare not move. Your fingers in mine. I dare not let them go. Dare not stroke them. Now, it seems as if you do not mind our hearts dancing in silent step. What magic is this, when one night after soft voices and healing sound, in my arms, holding you, I say, I am so in love with you. Now, we find each other. Then, on the bank of our shining stream. Before we have our first piece of music, I wanted to begin with that very personal poem. I hope you don't mind, dear listener. I think you know by now that this programme sometimes is very personal and sometimes allows people, guests or myself, to share very deep things about themselves, or things, that is rather perhaps a little self-aggrandizing, for I am a very thin person, as it happens, not a very deep person. But I wrote that poem for an experience I had with my partner very recently, in fact, and I, of course, have her permission to read this. We went on a trip to Tetbury, as it happens, and found ourselves in the middle of a very powerful experience about closeness and togetherness and intimacy by a stream. And it struck me that the reason that I write poems, and perhaps why others do too, and perhaps maybe you do, dear listener, is to find what cannot be said. Now, this realization came to me just actually during this experience I've just narrated, but also last night I went to see this wonderful play, Hamlet, at the RSC. Shakespeare is given a line in this play, and he says, somebody asks him, why do you write plays? And he says, I write what I cannot say. And a shiver went up my spine, and I thought rather a sense of hubris in many ways. I thought, gosh, yes, that's it. Not that one ever has to answer the question to anybody, why do you write? But Peter and I, and once again, thank you to Peter for producing this program, we're just talking about one of the reasons this very program exists, is to offer a space, really, both for you, dear listener, to enjoy poetry, hopefully, but also to think, I might give it a go. So with that, let us hear our first song, which is a very upbeat piece. Since I said at the beginning, this is a season of green and life, and we're going to hear a song called Can You? Very upbeat, and these are all very upbeat poems I've chosen for you, I hope. Well, I say upbeat, but they're very optimistic about the strength of the human heart, because And this next one, which I know you will know, dear listener, you'll know this poem very well, I'm sure. And if you don't, what a treat to be able to bring it to you. What a treat to be able to bring this. Well, it's an aspect of beauty, and as Keats has it, giving advice to somebody, I think, about what to do with his life, and he says, well, pursue beauty, because beauty is truth, and truth is beauty, and that's all there is. And how true that is, in my humble opinion. Eve Wishes for the Cloths of Heaven by W.B. Yeats. Had I the heavens embroidered cloths, enwrought with gold and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and the half-light, I would spread the cloths under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams, and I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. I just want to hold a moment of silence before we do the next poem, and then we're going to hear a piece of music. Also, whose rhythm is quite different to that of that poem, but isn't that extraordinary? And I wanted to share that poem with you because of what I've tried to express in my introduction and in the first poem, that it is an act of giving, isn't it? I'm not seeking to define love, dear listener. I'm seeking to share with you poems that express that feeling, and perhaps even go further. What do I mean by that? I think what I mean is this, that poems tell a story that cannot be said, or tell a story different to that which can be spoken. The joy for me of writing poetry, and perhaps you share this also, is that when you put one word down on a page, on a piece of paper with either a word processor or a pen. I prefer pen myself when I'm drafting my little efforts. It says what it says. The word green, once written, produces that colour. But the minute you put another word next to it, firstly, you have a poem because you have a meaning. And more than that, and as we go into this next poem, perhaps this will be a little clearer. As soon as you write the word green, and then you write the next word, let's say tree, you have a third meaning that comes out, that only you will know. Because the green tree that you can see is totally unique, totally yours, not mine, not anybody else's, and crucially, and most excitingly for me, a tree that did not exist before those two words were written. Christina Rossetti writes this sensational poem, and I'm not sharing with you poems that are terribly obscure today. There are some that I hope you've not heard before, but I'm sure you will have heard this one. And rightly so. It's often shared at moments of ceremonial love, such as weddings and so on. Well, here it is. Christina Rossetti. I wish I could remember that first day. I wish I could remember that first day, first hour, first moment of your meeting me. If bright or dim the season, it might be summer or winter, for aught I can say. So unrecorded did it slip away. So blind was I to see and to foresee. So dull to mark the budding of my tree. that would not blossom yet for many a May. If only I could recollect it, such a day of days. I let it come and go, as traceless as a thaw of bygone snow. It seemed to mean so little, and so much. If only now I could recall that touch, first touch of hand in hand.